Alrighty then, thank you for joining me. Love them knives here, LTK, and we've got CRKT XOC in the box here, and it is a big ass box. I got this sucker from CRKT, and this is how it came here. The XOC, product of Taiwan. There you go. Crazy, huge, big, huge box. And I go, wow, I know it's a big knife, but that, And I opened it up. It's got a magnetic closure there. And of course, this, was around the box to begin with, but just thought I'd show you that much. And then inside is, they gave me a hat. So that was nice of them. That was $700. It was only $50 for the knife, but it was $700 for the hat. So, and then this tissue was thrown in there, and I don't know why exactly. But so this is the box, by the way. So did get the hat, and now there's the knife. What about it? It comes in this leather wrap, and this is like the Motley did as well, and the Hijinks when it was done back in 2015 or so. And you unwrap this sucker. So when you put this knife, it's kind of a stitched area here where this slides in. So when you put it back, it just lays down top here. This goes over here, and then from the left you wrap it back around and tie it. So that's how that goes, just in case you were wondering. Pull it out of the leather, and here you go, the XOC knife. CRKT XOC is a limited edition knife, and this is designed by Flavio Icoma with the Deadbolt lock, etc. And, on their site, I wasn't aware of this knife until the 2020 SHOT Show, even though it was made well before then, was available in 2019. I just didn't know that until I saw Flavio Icoma at the SHOT Show, and he was boasting that this is his daily carry, and yes, he had one in his pocket and showed it to me. So then I go, oh, it's a beast. It's really cool. It's got XHP, steel blade, etc. And then I went to CRKT's site, and they do have, other than the Motley they made, the Hijinks they made, there's the Panache as well. So these are limited run knives. And this one's a Ken Onion design as well. We'll talk about the Panache at another date. This is also CTS XHP steel blade. But this is the XOC, and the way they were pronouncing it was shock. Almost like shark, but no R in there. So it's shock. And they were saying that may have been an early derivative or root word that later became the word shark. So I looked it up, and sure enough, Wikipedia down here, a Mayan word for fish, which may be the origin of the English word shark. It's a beast too. It is a big ass blade. This has the Deadbolt lock, which Flavio Icoma patented, designed. Also IKBS bearings, which he also invented. It's big. It's heavy. It's not a practical carry knife, although, he's tongue-in-cheek, saying how it's his everyday carry knife. Here's the Deadbolt expansion. They show you on the CRKT website. They have a brief little video, shows you kind of an exploded view of how the Deadbolt system goes together. It looks like this is probably the seismic. So you have this pivot that goes through, and then of course IKBS bearings. Here's the back, here's the front. You unscrew this, and this falls out the back. So, but the knife will still function, okay, because you haven't taken the scales off or anything. So the pivot still stays, the bearings and all that still stay in place. Interesting. So we will disassemble this as well, take a look, but it's fascinating. I've seen him now 2 years in a row, in 2019 and 2020. You know, he'll take out his little CRKT Torx tool and disassemble the pivot, just to show you how that goes. And they've done some torture tests on this Deadbolt where they've hung a lot of weight off of that. And what they will actually disclose, I don't know. I've heard as much as 3,200 pounds. And finally, the blade, I'm not sure it was on this knife or if it was on the seismic, but finally just broke the blade, but not the pivot, not the locking mechanism, not the deadbolt. But that's a big piece of hardened steel in there. Scalable, obviously, as you can see on the linchpin, which is also a Flavio Icoma design for 2020. There are other deadbolt knives that have the deadbolt locking system that have been designed by others. Okay, come on. There we go. On the CRKT site, and also available for sale through various retailers, etc. So this is cool. This is definitely a smaller knife, although this is 8.8 inches, 3.75 inch blade. And you can tell, wow, how much bigger. This one's just so massive because everything's so massive. I mean, just the height of the blade is much, much bigger. You know, these handles are much bigger as well. And let's just do that. Let's do that. So we've got a 4¼ inch blade, which is basically 110 millimeters, and then over 10 inches long, almost 10¼ at, well, 26 centimeters. I mean, it is 10¼ down here. 26 centimeters. That's a big old knife. 11 ounces. 312 grams. Here it is on the CRKT site. 750 smackaroos. Let me see if there's some pause and read here, and it'll give you, 4¼ inch blade. 10.3 inches overall length. CTS XHP. And here, 11 ounces. Carbon fiber inlay on the scales. Otherwise, it's titanium with the deadbolt. And obviously, right here is where the stop occurs. These are your blade stops. The deadbolt's handy because, you can keep your fingers out of the way of the path of the blade here when you open or close the knife. Gives it somewhat of a fidget factor. I like the design. It really flows well. Let's see what he used. Blade to handle length, pretty good. Maybe could have done a 16th. I don't know. But yeah, that's good enough. That's good enough. You can flick this with your finger if you want. That is a big old deadbolt. And if you look at the linchpin, it's scalable, right? So you can use it for much smaller knives. Have this kind of area here, I guess, where you can go forward with your finger if you want more control. And okay, yeah, it's sharp out of the box. CTS XHP steel. So that's premium steel with the titanium. There's your standoffs. I assume that and the pocket clip are titanium. They're not magnetic, so. And these are not magnetic either. And we've got about 4.8 millimeter thick blade stock, 0.185. Uh, 17.4 millimeter thickness overall, 0.68, almost 7/10 of an inch here. There's no real sharp edges here, but yeah, I don't think the fit and finish is up to a $750 standard knife here. This is sharp on the inside of here. This catches you. Now, the positive side is it makes good contact when you're with your finger when you finger flick it. And the other side of that coin is, should it really be that catchy? The rest of here, no, this is fine. This is fine here. The machining's good. Pretty standard stuff for the screws. This is a little, edgy too, which could have been refined a bit more. No, the liners are fine, except down here they're a little. Yeah, you could have run and maybe put a little bit more rounding, breaking these edges a little bit on here. This is meant to be tactile, so no, I'm not going to complain about that. The pocket clip here looks to be interchangeable right or left hand, as we can see right here. So they didn't put a screw in here to fill this hole. And I think that would have been something that I would have liked to have had right there, just to kind of give it a more finished look there than to just keep it open. Also, could you have contoured these scales? And that's a different call, though. I don't know that's either here or there. You can see this hole here, and this is for the adjusting of the detent. So this is a number 6. It goes in here, and you can turn it right or left to make the detent stronger or weaker on this knife. So it's adjustable and has nothing to do with taking it out of center, okay? That's a separate situation. So the flipper tab is not real big. It's fairly muted, actually. It's not real tall. It's jimped. It's pretty intuitive. It's placed in a good position. It would have been nice. It's maybe just a bit edgy. Would have been nice to round those edges just a little bit more. I think they hit them a little bit. Just kind of touched it, but could have done more. It's a big, heavy blade and takes a little bit of force to get it out there. Get way out here, kick it, and you can snap it pretty hard, as well, thumb stud, or the thumb hole. I'm not using these, and I don't find those to be terribly useful. You can get up from behind that with your middle finger and kick it open. I find it easier to just use the cutout. You got a thumb ramp here with some jimping, so that's pretty meaningful, which means, yeah, you can get right up on here. Balance on this knife. Let me see if I can find balance. My balance point. It's kind of right in here. So it's a little tough. Okay, right there. That's where it is. It's right up against here. I got this knife because I just thought it was an attractive design, good quality materials. It's fun to have a beast knife. Actually, I think the presentation could have been better because it's just an open box. I mean, if they'd have had a foam cutout, something a little bit more, and maybe even put a CRKT little Torx tool with it on the side and a little insert, you know, kind of make it more of a presentation look. Probably didn't need to be that big a box. I mean, the leather wrap is okay, but really a foam insert in a nice plastic snap down waterproof case would have been really preferable to me. Another thing I would have liked to have seen on this knife was really a backspacer. If they'd have done a carbon fiber backspacer, you know, bring it up to about here, I really would have liked that. I think I would have preferred it over the standoffs. Ergos are good on this knife. I mean, my hand feels comfortable here. Pocket clip is what a milled pocket clip is. It's not annoying necessarily, and it fits right in this little area here. So, no, it's pretty comfortable. Reverse grip, very comfortable indeed. And if you have big hands, there's a lot of extra room on here. There's a lot of extra room on this handle for much, much larger hands. So, that's great. And of course, you move up here, you've got, you know, way bunch more room back there. So, easy action, fidget friendly, big and heavy, thick, but it fills your hand. So, really, I think Flavio uses it as an everyday carry and a user knife, and you know, you really could use it for that with this deadbolt in place, the thickness of the blade stock, and the solid build of this knife with the handle just filling your hands like this. You could put some oomph onto that knife and it'll take it. Obviously, it's an almost unbreakable lock. So you're solid there. Let's take this sucker apart, see what happens. It looks like it's pretty simple. When I've seen Flavio take his apart, it was pretty easy. There you go. That main spring and screw. I'm holding on to this because it's just going to fall out. Just like that. So here's where the deadbolt lock comes in and just lays in like that. Now that's out. But the knife's not going to fall apart. It's still together, right? You're just taking the lock out. And we got a bunch of screws here. These are all number 6s. Two. Oh my goodness. There you go. There's 1, 2. Come on. See if they're different sizes. Nope, look the same. 3. And here we go. I was trying to knock the screw out instead. So we've got this system pulled apart. here's your adjustable detent area here. So we got more screws. And more screws. Okay. And so we have these three still here. This one is 4. Come on, get back in there. Keep organized here. So flip it over and they'll fall out. There they go. Don't care. Get all of them out. Definitely carbon fiber. Here we go right here. And do we have more screws? Of course we do. Holding the liner on. Liner screw and liner screw. Trying to see. Here's the liner screw there. There's the outer screw. Look the same. Okay, you got these screws off, and so you want to pull this liner off. Looks like this here pivot is screwed into this liner, so you actually have to come from the back side to unscrew this. To free this liner. And let's see if we got it freed up yet. Okay, there we go. See, there are actually threads right here in this liner. So this is the presentation side. There's the bearings on both sides. There's the blade. And of course, here's the pivot. So we've got bearings, pivot, bunches of screws, that's for sure. And I only did half of it because here's the other half. And none of these have any magnetism to them. These standoffs do, but if you look inside, it looks like they've got steel threads in there. So I'd have to take these off. But I believe these are titanium. This is definitely not magnetic. No magnetism there. No magnetism anywhere on there. You feel just yeah, there is some there. But nothing really there. There's our disassembled knife. Well, half disassembled. If I wanted to take the other 7 screws off of here, really 8 with the pocket clip, pull this, but I don't see the point. It's just a repeat of the front side X the pocket clip. Here we go. We have to put our pivot screw back in here. So that's the first order of business. And then we need to put bearings. And I guess we will agree to put a little bit of lube here. A little in here and a little on the detent track. Bearings again. And maybe just a single drop. And we can put the opposite liner on here. And then we need to screw the pivot into the opposite liner. Just like that. We've got liner screws. Liner screws here. Come on. 2. Oh, we got. There we go. So those 2 screws go on there. No, that doesn't go in yet. You got to look at the back side of the blade. There's cutouts for that, for these 2, but not for the one back here. So obviously that goes on later. And we'll get to these in a little bit and get these to the proper position. So we've got all these screws to put in. Okay. One. 2. They fit pretty tight too. 3. 4. Okay. All these are in place. Let's see where we need to be with this. Looks like right there is the proper position for that. Plate goes on. We've got 3 screws that go not where the adjustment goes. Okay, let's go here. Right here. 1, 2. Come on. And 3. There we go. If you saw that little lobe on this ring here that came out here, so it just gives you one place to fit. Okay, they're tight in there, that's for sure. Definitely fit those screws well. All right, so from the back side, we want to drop in this deadbolt. Just like that. From the front side, we want to put this pin and screw, and now we got number 8. Everything else, number 6 looked like. But here we go. And we are making contact, and there we are. Yeah. So not bad. Probably actually a better feel for the action right there. Nice. I guess, in summary, yeah, it's a big knife, and it's got quality materials of carbon fiber, titanium, CTS XHP blade, all that, the deadbolt lock. But yeah, I mean, there's just some edginess here and there on some of the liners. As far as I'm concerned, backspacer would have been nice. Maybe contoured scales. I don't know. That's a little bit different issue. Less edginess in here. Otherwise, yeah, it's a good quality knife. Regardless, though, you're several $100s north of a Riot knife that would be top of the line Riot. So if this was $450, I think I would feel it better. I really do. But I think this is kind of not really meant to be their bread and butter focus. This and the panache and the mongrel and the hijinks that they've done in high-end finishes, that's not their bailiwick. So this is just for those who want to, and these are made in pretty limited numbers. So just thought I'd throw this at you. And yeah, I like it. I mean, I do, because it's big, it's impressive. I like the action on it. I do like the design. So there's a lot to like about it. All right, I'm going to let you go. Thanks for joining me. And you know what we do. We love them knives. So you guys stay sharp.